of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Coach Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Fly guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Coach Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Coach Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
One day closer to that inevitable June 1st trade. Or I should say June 2nd.
I was just about to say, do you actually think it's going to happen on June 1st, or it may happen the week of June 1st? Because June 1st is what day? Is that a Monday? What is that?
I'm not even sure.
What is June 1st on the calendar?
June 1st is on a Monday.
It's a Monday. Okay. June 1st is a Monday. So do you think it'll happen on Monday, or it may be the week?
It can't happen. It's got to be after June 1st. So technically it would be June 2nd at 12:01 a.m.
So to that point then, to that end, do you think it'll happen June 2nd, 12:01 a.m.? Or do you think it'll be June 3rd, or maybe late June 2nd in the evening? Like, do you think it'll be something that'll happen like a light switch, like the moment June 2nd hits?
You know what? I think whatever's going to happen has already been done and agreed upon. I think
that's always funny.
The new players in the situation, I think that's all subterfuge. I think they just trying to throw curveballs. I think everything is going to happen the way it was supposed to happen, the same way they've been reporting about for months. So I think, is it possible? Color me surprised if he goes to the Jaguars. You know what I'm saying?
That's been the. I won't say that's the first time I've heard that. I've heard that before, but it was more so a what if, not really a story that had legs.
Right.
But regardless though, it is going to be interesting to see where he lands and just how things turn out for him, right? And look, people are in your life for seasons. Sometimes they're always in life for a reason,
right?
But sometimes it's only for a season or two or three or four. But regardless how it goes down, man, y'all know where y'all at. You guys are tuned into the Bald Eagles podcast. He's Marcus Thomas. I'm your guy, Tone, the show's the second. We are live on 2 channels. We're also live on my Twitter page as well. So make sure you guys lock in on that.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So is he not, or did he not, or were the reports false that he just bought a place in New England? Were the reports false that he was enrolling his kids in school? All of this after he just untied the knot. So the reason why I'm saying everything is going to happen the way they've been reporting it is because then all of this other stuff wouldn't make sense. I mean, I know he got the money that he could have a place up in New England and a place somewhere else. You can do that. But when you're talking about kids his age, you ain't trying to go back and forth. You trying to be in the same location as your kids.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I haven't heard this story or seen it that he's already purchased property.
I done heard 2 or 3 stories like that. I heard that he bought a luxury apartment in New England. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I heard the report that apparently his fiance at the time, now his wife, was looking for schools up in that area. I heard that report. So, and it could all be BS.
Yeah. I think at this point, I don't know if I've articulated it this way, but I'm at the point where it's entirely possible that AJ Brown feels like he's entered a new phase of his life.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
And for him, he could identify this season as the season for change, the season for new beginnings, right?
Yes.
You know, he's done a lot in Philadelphia. He's been super productive in Philadelphia. The Eagles don't get to the heights they've gotten to without him. He knows that. The city knows that. And I think above all else, there's never going to ever be a misunderstanding as to what AJ Brown meant to the city and what the city meant for his career. There's never going to be a misunderstanding with that unless someone's trying to be woefully obtuse.
Trying to make a narrative.
That was one hand washing the other.
Yeah.
AJ Brown was able to secure generational money 2 times over with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was also able to achieve heights in his career that he probably would have never achieved if he stayed in Tennessee. Right? There can never be a misunderstanding as to the role the Philadelphia Eagles played and the role AJ Brown played in their respective on their respective paths. So when I think about AJ Brown moving on from Philadelphia, I want that for him if that's what he believes he needs. Right? There's some people who just they get to a point where it's like, you know what? It's time for me to shake it up, for myself. He's getting married, or he got married. Now he's a husband. New phase in his career. Some people just view their life like that through vignettes, and this could be another vignette in his story.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what he feels is best for him, go do that. Because trust and believe, the Philadelphia Eagles have shown you with every move they've made leading up to this point, they're definitely going to do what's best for them, and they're never going to be held hostage by a player or caught off guard by a player. And signing or drafting with Kyle Lemon, signing Hollywood Brown, and trading for Dontavion Wicks, signing Elijah Moore, right, and drafting Eli Stowers. Those moves, to me, signifies a team that already saw the writing on the wall or has seen the writing on the wall, and they're making sure that they're not going to be devoid of talent. But it is going to be different. It's going to be different, and we're going to see a new version of Jalen Hurts, and Smitty, right? We've only seen the Jalen Hurts Smitty combo for one season, and then AJ Brown came in, and it became what it became. So I'm really curious to see what these guys look like at this phase in their careers. They're more polished, they're more seasoned. They've played a lot of football together, and I just think integrating these new pieces is going to make it that much more exciting for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Are we going to see? And this is just simply a matter of perspective, because depending on how you say it, you still end up in the same place. Are we going to see a new Jalen Hurts, or are we going to see the Jalen Hurts that was always there?
That's a good question. I think Jalen Hurts definitely could. He definitely could stand and take his game to another level. My only issue with Jalen Hurts, my main issue with Jalen Hurts, has always been hold on to the ball on the pocket. That's been like my main crux with him. And I'm a Jalen Hurts supporter. I mean, I don't have to qualify that. Like, that's always been my main crux with Jalen Hurts, hold on to the ball too long.
That's fair.
And I just think regardless of the outcome, you got to let that ball go, man. You got to have some kind of internal clock where, you got to let that ball go. And if you see something developing, you can make something happen. If you extend the play, that's something different. But, one of my biggest gripes on Jalen Hurts has just been he babysits that ball too much for my liking.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to see him play a little bit more on time this year.
That's fair. That's fair. Are we going to see 2023 Jalen Hurts? Or are we going to see 2024 Jalen Hurts?
It's kind of hard to even say that, because those versions of Hurts had the ingredient of AJ Brown.
Well, okay. But
right.
They had AJ Brown, but I'm looking at it from the standpoint of in 2023, or Jalen Hurts, he was slinging the rock. He had how many? 13 picks.
Yeah.
which in the big scheme of things ain't that bad.
He just needed he needed more touchdowns to offset that.
Correct, but the way our defense was playing,
yeah,
it was we didn't get on the field a lot. So
that's a good point.
But my point is that in my opinion, in 2023, we threw the ball like I believe the coaches wanted us to throw the ball. We weren't running the ball. I believe we still had Miles Sanders, and like we could have ran the ball more, but we didn't. Everybody was so. Wasn't that the year?
Well, no, 2023 was the DeAndre Swift season.
That's DeAndre. Okay, but wasn't that was that the year? Was 2023 the year that somebody quoted Jeffrey Lurie of being upset because we ran the ball too much?
No, that was
that year.
No. You're thinking about that year when the Eagles beat Green Bay, and they had Jordan Howard. They were running the ball heavy. And they beat them by grinding out on the ground and pound game. Man, the rumor was upper management wasn't happy with Doug about winning that game the way they won that game, and they pretty much controlled that game. But
so I guess my point is that at least from my perspective, in 23, we were throwing the ball like I think everybody wants us to throw the ball.
So in 23, the Eagles were ranked 21st in the league in pass attempts. That's 33.2 attempts per game. The league high that year was Dallas with 37.4 attempts. When you
what was our average?
In 2023, we averaged 33.2 pass attempts per game.
Wow. And I think that's pretty good for us.
Whereas though in 2022, they averaged 31.2 attempts per game. And 2024, the Eagles averaged 25.7 attempts per game.
Right. I remember us talking after a game.
That's the Saquon effect, of course. And in 2025, they averaged 29.6. So 2023 was a career high for Jalen Hurts in terms of pass attempts per game. And me personally, like when you think about the teams who led the league in pass attempts, most of them weren't playoff teams.
There you go.
Most of them weren't. Like, for example, for the 2025 season, Arizona led the league in pass attempts. Then Cincinnati, then Dallas. Then you got Denver, right? So Denver made the playoffs. Then you got the Rams at 5. They made the playoffs. Chicago at 6 made the playoffs. Houston at 7 made the playoffs. New Orleans at 8 didn't make the playoffs. KC didn't make the playoffs. And Detroit didn't make the playoffs. Tennessee didn't make the playoffs. So out of the top 11, only 4 of the top 11 passing teams made the playoffs. Whereas though
even the difference is not, you talking about a 5 pass attempts more?
Yeah, and for example, for Philadelphia in 2025, they averaged 29.6 pass attempts per game, which is a 9 attempt difference from the number 1 spot at 38.2. So when you really dig into the numbers, these pass attempts, the disparity between these teams isn't really that vast.
It's not a lot, but I remember we had a show where we talked about that post game, talking about when Jalen throws the ball more than 25 times a game, we end up running into trouble.
I thought it was
the max.
I'm trying to think. It was because they tried to say the fact that when Jalen Hurts throws the ball over 30 times, the Eagles lose, and his record his record didn't indicate that.
Right.
His record indicated that the Eagles win more than they lose when he throws the ball that many times. And he was comparing him to his peers, and I think he had one of the better win percentages. But the thing that stood out is he didn't have as many games as his peers throwing above that 30 mark. But
we were still talking about the optics of it all.
It was always but with Jalen Hurts, it's always about the optics, right? Yeah. And people are really going to be watching him, especially with this new schedule. The schedule is interesting in its own way. I do like the way the home games are laid out better this year.
Agreed.
But there's a stretch where the dates plus the travel is going to be intense. Like, for example, they don't have the bye week after the London game, which is all right, fine. But where you really get into trouble or where things get interesting for this team is Sunday, December 6th, 4:00 in the afternoon against Arizona. December 13th, 12 p.m. game. December 19th, 4 p.m. game. December 25th, Thursday. And remind you, the 19th is a Saturday. Then you got Thursday, December 24th. So that, don't forget, they got their bye week, right? Week 10, then week 11, November 22nd, Pittsburgh, then November 26th at Dallas.
After the break, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 games in the afternoon.
Yeah.
4:30, 4:30, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And then we go prime time Thursday night, prime time Sunday night, and then New York. I think the schedule is great for us.
The Eagles only have 5 noon games.
Yeah.
Or 5 afternoon games. So
I don't necessarily worry about the Jags game in London.
Okay.
Because I mean, it takes longer to get to LA than it does to London.
Yeah.
So I don't. A lot of people forget about that fact because
it's really just you're changing time zones going to LA too, so it's just a different change.
It will be better going to London than we are going to LA. The trip back from London is worse than the trip to it because you got to think about it. When you fly to LA or when you're flying back from London, you're flying with the rotation of the Earth. So the trip is longer as opposed to going against it and you get there a little bit faster. So, I mean, the trip back, we're going to be fine. They're going to be sleep on the plane anyways. We'll be good. Jet lag ain't going to be that bad.
I'm going to be paying attention to speaking of real quick though, Jacksonville back-to-back London games. That's different.
Yeah.
Jags got Eagles and Houston in London back-to-back weeks. So Jags are going to be out in London for a few weeks.
But it not going to be too bad for them because
no, they're going to be chilling. They're going to be they're already acclimated.
East Coast teams, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. So week one, Eagles at home against Washington in the afternoon. Then week 2, they go on the road to Tennessee, and then they follow it up on the road to Chicago. I'm not going to lie. Get that Chicago game out the way early.
That's going to be a good game.
Get that out the way early.
That is going to be a good game. I think that'll be the first test for the defense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure. Caleb,
Washington will be a test.
I mean, it's a divisional game, and I don't think Washington has done enough roster wise this offseason. You know, they leveraged a lot of their high end draft capital for guys like Laramie Tunsil, Marshawn Lattimore. Remember that, and they didn't even bring Marshawn Lattimore back.
Right.
They did extend Tunsil though, but
but it just gets screwy with Washington.
It does.
It always gets screwy with Washington. It always should be a game that we should blow them out, and then something happens, it just gets weird. So, you know, you just got to be wary. I think we'll win it because we at home, but you know, just cautious enthusiasm.
I think the reality is Jalen Hurts, Sean Manning, these guys are installing new concepts. So I'll be honest, I like the way the first several weeks shake out. It's a healthy combination of playoff teams and teams who didn't make the playoffs. I think it's a healthy dose of home and away games. I like the way it's spaced out. You start out at home, then you go on the road 2 weeks in a row. Okay, Tennessee and Chicago. Then you come back for some home cooking against LA, the Rams. Then you got Jacksonville, and London. Then you got the Panthers after that. Then you got Dallas. So I know they're calling London a home game. Obviously, it ain't. But week 4 through 7 is going to be very interesting for this team because I think Carolina is going to pose their own challenges. I think Carolina's defense is going to be better this year. I think Carolina's defense was good last year, and they have a running game.
Right.
Bryce Young, another year. What's he going to look like? Right. I think he's in year 4, and they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So,
you mean he's in a prove it year?
I think so. I don't think they picked up his 5th-year option.
That seems to be the buzzword now. It's a prove it year.
Let me just double check it. I just want to make sure I'm not off here. But they definitely haven't had his contract came up and it just hasn't. Okay, so they did pick it up. They picked it up. But they haven't discussed an extension yet. They did pick it up, pardon me. So they picked it up here. They're giving him or guaranteeing him $25.9 million. But the fact that the contract extension, because typically when they got the guy, they know they got the guy, they get that out the way. This year is going to be very interesting in terms of overall what Bryce Young looks like. I think he made strides last year. I think he needs to take another big step. He has to take a major step for that team to feel comfortable securing him long term, and I don't think they feel comfortable right now. Fully.
It'll be interesting in that situation because he's going to be in one of them spots where I think he'll play fine, but it all depends on what everybody around him does.
Yeah. He just can't be the reason they lose games.
Right.
He can't be. He can't have these game clinching turnovers or having poor ball security, things like that. You got Dallas week 7 at Philly. That's going to be a fun game. Monday Night Football. Then you got Washington week 8 on the road. So you're getting out the way before the bye week. You already knocked out 4 divisional games. I don't know if you noticed, but the league didn't backload the Eagles or this divisional games.
No, I was surprised. We are done with Washington and halfway with the Cowboys before the bye week.
Listen, once week 12,
lovely.
Once you get past week 12, you don't have another divisional game until week 18.
Dude, that is lovely. That is lovely. I went through this yesterday, and I had to check myself because I was like, wait a minute. If I don't want to be too overzealous, but I'm like, man, I could see us getting 14 wins. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Stop. Wait a minute.
This is going to come down to
look at this again, just to make sure. Like, and I'm thinking, we got another opportunity, man. We got another opportunity to take the division and pretty much write our own path in the playoffs. But I mean, that's the big if, because we assuming that everything is going to work. We're assuming that we don't know what we're going to get out of Sean Mannion.
Yeah, yours health-wise as well. There's so many variables that go into it, of course. But when I look at the schedule, I do see what you see. I do see a schedule that, with knowing this team on paper, personnel-wise, even when I subtract the AJ Brown element, even when I subtract that element, I think this Eagles offense is going to be so intriguing, so nuanced.
So much cow bums. Thank you for that, Jerry.
So much different than what people are used to seeing this from Jalen Hurts in particular in this offense.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take the league several weeks before they catch on to what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. And that's not even to imply they're going to be doing something so abnormal, but you know, you've had a game plan for a different version of Jalen Hurts for the past several seasons. You got this new coordinator who's going to be installing new tendencies. Not having AJ Brown completely shifts the personnel responsibilities for the opposing defenses, and at that point, now you don't really know who you got to key in on outside of Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley. because I honestly think this is going to be a season. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you see Eli Stowers tight end 1 and Goddard tight end 2. Don't be surprised.
I'm thinking the same thing. And for some reason, watch out for Dontavian Wicks.
Yes.
That kid has a chip on the shoulder.
I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a fantastic year this year.
Bro, that was the thing I wanted to focus on for a minute. Everybody's looking at Sean Mannion. Everybody's looking at what Jalen's going to do. And I'm like, are y'all forgetting the fact that we have a offensive line that is going to be healthy?
He's been the forgotten. Saquon Barkley has been the forgotten man in this offense this offseason, believe it or not.
Yeah. I went on a rant last night, bro, and I was like, the most important person on this team right now is Cam Jurgens. We can't do shit without Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. There's a lot riding on
his health
this year.
Yeah.
They have to be healthy this year. They have to be healthy this year. Now, we've seen young guys step up and be. Listen, Big V came in for Jason Peters one year and held it down.
I think they need to go out and just go on back out and try to get Mekhi Becton back in here.
But I think it's a situation where he has to be healthy.
Thank you, Justin.
On top of that, they just have to be better. They have to be overall better.
But that's not hard to be. Looking at how bad they were last year, that's a low bar. So all we got to do is be adequate. We ain't got to be all world beaters. All they have to do is be adequate. And I think
because the talent will rise to the talent will carry you to a certain point. You just need guys to be. Listen, if the talent to get you there, can your effort and technique bring you home?
Like it would be extremely difficult, in my opinion, to be as bad as they were last year. It would be very difficult for that to happen. The only way that happens is if we just can't stay healthy. So, and here's the most important part of it, though. If we can just block well, not block good, not block all pro, if we can just block well.
That's all Saquon needs.
Saquon is going to be 2 to 3 yards better, and a good running game covers warts.
And also, I think it came up in conversations, but I just believe people don't understand how much he was getting hit behind the backfield.
Bruh, he was making chicken salad out of chicken shit.
There's no reason he should have got 1,000 yards.
None.
He should have never got 1,000 yards based on what we saw.
Not even close.
That's why I hold that 1,000-yard season in high regard, personally. He should have never got 1,000 yards.
Not even close. And the fact that everybody was keying in on him. And for the most part, it was working because they did exactly what the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. We're going to stop Saquon, make Jalen beat us in the air. And then when that happened, we started losing the chess match. So if we can at least block well, we ain't got to be an all-pro across the line. Everybody just needs to stay healthy and block well. That is going to cover a lot of warts for Sean Mannion.
And to put it in perspective, in case people don't really do their due diligence, Saquon, yes, he had 1,100 plus yards, but total yards from scrimmage, total yards, he had 317 touches, averaged 4.5 yards per touch, and had just over 1,400 yards from scrimmage and 9 total touchdowns. He was productive for this team.
Very productive.
He was productive for this team. And it just speaks to how much more productive he could have been if the offensive line was that much more healthy or productive in their own right. Saquon Barkley didn't have a bad year. Now, when you compare it to the year prior, I mean, you can't replicate that. That's very hard to do, but Saquon Barkley essentially gave you, I want to say, a top 5 season of his career.
Yeah.
He's been in the league 8 years. He's giving you a top 5, top 4 season. He's eclipsed over 2,000 yards from scrimmage twice in his career. He's eclipsed over 1,600 yards from scrimmage once.
And when you say from scrimmage, are you talking all purpose, right?
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
yep. All purpose, rushing and receiving. The reason I say from scrimmage is because when people say all purpose, they're counting the return yards, the punt, the kick return.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, but nonetheless, 9 touchdowns total, over 1,400 yards. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be better this year, and he only fumbled.
Productive.
And he only fumbled once, only one fumble loss.
Yeah, now he had a couple drops.
I mean, yeah, he's good for that.
Still suspect. Long as he didn't drop that ball in the Super Bowl, that was
I don't think he's lost a step.
No,
I don't.
I agree.
And I definitely don't think that he's the reason why that run game took a step back.
No, and anybody says it that they weren't paying attention. They weren't paying attention. Our biggest kryptonite last year was our run blocking last year. And I'll say it again, if I honestly believe if our offensive line was anywhere near what it was in 2024, Kevin Patullo still have his job. Yeah. He still keeps his job. Because I think the run game would have covered up a lot of the issues that he was having with the offense.
See, it's funny. You said that a few times, and I've thought about this. I don't know how much I agree with you if the passing game would have looked worse than it did in 2024 than it did in 2025. You get what I'm saying? I just don't know because the running game, people attribute that to Stoutland and whatnot.
Well, true. But
I have a hard time believing he keeps his job if that passing game regresses after a Super Bowl year.
Well, you're not wrong, but you have to look at it like this.
Because they have high standards for that passing game. They've had high standards, but they've kind of let it slide because they were running the ball so well.
They have, but when you look at the end result. So basically what I'm saying is if our offensive line could have run block adequately last year, Saquon Barkley is a hell of a lot more effective, right? So maybe instead of Jalen throwing on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, maybe it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, because he's running the ball better. So there's a lot more opportunities because the sticks keep moving a lot more. We're not throwing deep balls and all of that shit we was doing on 3rd downs because we didn't have to, because we could get a ball to Saquon and he could make some things happen, even on 3rd and long.
He was averaging 5.8 yards an attempt in 2024. It dropped to 4.1 yards in 2025. Quite literally 1.7 yard difference per attempt.
Yes.
And you average he was averaging damn near 2 yards less. 2 yards less in 2025 than he was in 2024. And he had 65 less attempts. He had 345 rush attempts in 2024, 280 attempts in 2025. He wasn't touching the ball as much in the run game. And on top of that, the averages went down, averaging almost 2 yards less. I don't think that's entirely his fault.
No, it's not. But take it to the next logical step. If he's running the ball like we expected him to run, if the line is blocking like we expected them to block, you got to go back and redo those 3rd down success rates. So that puts us in the red zone, puts us on the goal line a few more times. We eke out a couple of more wins than we did, and maybe we don't lose that game in San Francisco because we can run the ball well. So we're not so dependent on the pass. And all I'm saying is if we run the ball a little bit better than we did, then it covers up. We're not throwing the ball on 3rd and 8 like we did. So Kevin Patullo is not catching the heat because we can't stay on the field and give the defense a rest. There's a whole domino effect of other things that happen if you run the ball well. That's why I say he keeps his job, because I believe if we could block and run the ball well, we win 2 games in the playoffs. Maybe we don't go to the Super Bowl, but I believe we would have went to the division title game.
Man, if they're able to run the ball, They don't blow a 21-point lead to Dallas.
Correct. And regardless of what your feelings are for Kevin Patullo or not, if we would have made a deeper run in the playoffs, there would have been a much, much bigger contingency of people and fans that said, well, it'll be better next year. Let's see what he's got next year. You're not going to follow him. You're not going to fire him for getting this far in the playoffs.
Right.
So by running the ball, his leash gets a little bit longer. That's why I say that. How you gonna get rid of the guy that just got you to this far in the playoffs? I know it's all, it's all related, but still, his leash would have been longer. Nick Sirianni would have had some more excuses not to get rid of him.
That's a fair
point. I
point.
don't think it would have happened.
That's a fair point. We've seen them fire Super Bowl coaches before, so. So I mean, that's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles. They, as an organization,
they fired Stoutland.
they fired Stoutland, exactly. All that equity he built up in that building.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where we have to always remind ourselves that Howie Roseman is never going to allow. He's never going to fall victim to his habits. He's never going to get too sentimental by anybody or anything.
Right.
And I think that's a strength. That's a strength. Because there's times where organizations hold on to guys a year too long or a couple years too long because they feel like they owe them something, or there's ties to the city, whatever it is.
Yep.
If Cleveland had any sense in the world, they would have traded Myles Garrett. But they got sentimental. And they wanted to keep people in them seats.
But that was Myles. Myles went for the bag and then complained about it.
No, they offered him. He can't sign a contract that don't exist. They offered him. They said, listen, we want you here. We'll give you the money. Because remember he requested the trade. Then he paid him. My thing is, if you're the Browns, you maximize that.
Right.
And granted, I think they should have traded him before he even said something.
I think they should have too, and they should have let him play his hand.
Yep.
But they were hamstrung because they needed somebody for their fans to come see.
And that's my point. They got sentimental. They were afraid. They were, you know what it was?
They didn't want to walk away from that money.
Organizations that do that, they don't believe in their infrastructure. They don't believe in their ability to retool or rebuild. And when you see teams invest in talent like Myles Garrett, and again, it's not really a Myles Garrett conversation. It's more so organizational.
Right. And you also and the one thing you gotta bring in the context of it. They had to re-sign Myles Garrett. They had to offer him that money because they are trying to get approval, if they haven't gotten it already, for a new complex.
See, we're allowing business decisions.
Absolutely.
We're allowing front office decisions or executive decisions to affect the product that keeps people in the seats.
And when it's a situation like this, and you're trying to build a new stadium, you're trying to get approvals, you got to get permission from the mayor and the governor and all of that. You got to do. They want to know where this money coming from, because what happens every time we about to go through it in a couple years. What happens when they seriously start talking about building a new stadium? What does everybody always ask for in an NFL city? Who paying for this?
Exactly. And to Darth's point, Darth said Cleveland fans will still go to the games if Garrett's there or not. I agree with that. So my whole thing,
I disagree. There is a big difference between going to the game and selling out. Fair. So yes, Browns fans would have gone to the game. The problem is they wouldn't have been selling out.
To your point,
I mean, it's a blackout and all the other things that come with not selling out at home.
This, to your point, Browns fans are always going to show up. What sells venues out is when the casuals are going.
Correct.
That's what sells out venues.
But the casuals are what makes the money.
Yes. The casuals are what makes the money.
I don't know why they acting stupid now. They going through all of this stuff with Shador. All I know is every time you looked in that stadium, it was a whole bunch of number 2 jerseys up in there. for somebody that wasn't playing in the beginning. So they understand the situation. Who was number one in merch? Who do the fans want to come and see? They can talk all of that smack as much as they want to. They better not mess around and keep their kid on the bench.
Yeah, some organizations.
It's a whole other set of circumstances. I look at that situation in Cleveland, and it is very similar to what is going on here in Philadelphia. How they treating Jalen, what the news cycle is looking like. It's the same thing up there. Same game, different stadium.
That's interesting. Because I think overall
up there, y'all can go ahead with Deshaun Watson if you want to.
They'll be idiots if they put Deshaun Watson on the football field.
But guess what? They done already started that narrative. Hey, Deshaun Watson is looking good in practice, looking better than Shador. And I'm like, here we go again with this nonsense. Be careful what you wish for. So we down here, what they talking about? Oh, they didn't extend Jalen Hurts yet. And I'm like, he's good.
He's fine.
He's fine.
They didn't
every opportunity, and we done had. So it's funny. We done had the top three Dallas Cowboys: Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. All of them have given ringing endorsements for Jalen Hurts. Cowboys did that. Then you got the whole situation, him being uncoachable. Then Leffler stepped up and was like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. That's another narrative shot down.
But those things you talked about, that doesn't move the needle. You're not going to see the Scott Leffler quote pop up on ESPN or FS1. You're not going to see that.
You know,
because now all of a sudden it's not relevant anymore.
But you know what we did see? Jalen didn't go to the wedding.
Yeah. Here's the my whole thing is y'all tell me y'all let me know when y'all invitation came in the mail, because if you weren't there, I can't I can't put too much stock into that. First of all, I don't care. That ain't got shit to do with me. Like,
did you see how they worded it? So here's how I heard it. Here's how I heard it. There were several former Philadelphia Eagles, and everybody kept mentioning Slay
and Isaiah Rodgers, yeah.
Right. But they didn't say much about current Philadelphia Eagles. So my question
is, I heard Saquon was there. I heard Jalen was there.
Okay.
I guess my point is, it's just like this is where when sports talk gets into the soap opera game, and exactly. it's exhausting. I'm not intrigued.
We back into the Vrabel Rossini territory.
I'm not intrigued by this in the slightest. It doesn't stimulate me in the slightest. I see it and I'm like, I see it and I don't even get interested. It's just talk. And people say, hey, well, Tony, you're in the content game, you gotta talk about content, you gotta talk about what's going on. I guess. I don't believe everything deserves legs. Just because I got a microphone, that don't mean I have to talk about it. Everything that I'm told is supposed to matter. No.
Listen, I'm waiting for another Jalen story to drop, because the news cycle is getting a little bit quiet.
Yeah, and look, we're what? How many days from June 1st or June 2nd? Yep. About 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You know, the closer we get, the more that organ is going to start to sound.
Yep. They got just enough more. They get just enough room. We got just enough time for one more picture of Rossini and Vrabel at some bar kissing, and then they got just enough time for one more Jalen is uncoachable story, or something from Jeremy Fowler. So we got just enough time for two more of them stories to fill, because once June 1st hits, now you're gonna start getting the deals done, and the NFL starts to, pull that crank on the lawnmower, and it's NFL news every week. NFL news is leading the news cycle, so they running out of time. So I'm expecting one or two more stories before you out of time.
Let me ask you something, and this goes back to the schedule release, but it also it's relevant to what we're talking about. So follow me here. Did you watch the Philadelphia Eagles schedule release video?
I did not.
Have you seen clips of it at least?
I've seen clips of it. They all sitting around the boardroom table.
Right. Okay. So if you paid attention to the rest of the league as well, teams had their own extravagant ways of announcing their schedule.
Everybody went on social media.
And, you know, a lot of people went the social media route, or they did a lot of like glitz and glam, a lot of like, you know, they had a lot of fun with it. And the Eagles opted for something very
simple,
mundane, simple,
business-like,
very business-like, no nonsense. You had Jalen Hurts at the head of the table, and you had Jordan Mailata and Saquon to represent the offense on one side of the table, and you had Jordan Davis, the new money man, and Jahai Campbell, who's going to be taking over from Nakobe Dean on that panel as well.
Yeah,
and
there was not a lot of production in that. I don't think
it wasn't overproduced, right? And a lot of people, what I read, what I've seen, a lot of fans called it, the word they used were boring or this is all, right? And here's why it worked for me. Because through this entire off season, it's been noise, just turbulence. And when the schedule releases, which is a sign that the pages are turning onto a new season. When you release the schedule to your fans, and it's spearheaded by your franchise quarterback and his fellow leadership committee, and Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mailata, the Jordan Davis, young guy taking over, Jahai Campbell, and the way it's produced, no music, no sound effects,
no nonsense. Some of them teams had to hire production crews for their shit.
You just hear the conversations, and the Eagles spare no expense with their productions, by the way. But what I took from that is, through all the turbulence, let's bring some order to this.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Let's bring some order to all this disturbance that's been in the atmosphere. It's been a lot of noise surrounding the AJ Brown stuff. It's been a lot of noise surrounding the Jeff Stoutland firing. A lot of noise surrounding Kevin Patullo's firing and Sean Mannion's hiring. A lot of noise about Jalen Hurts, him being coachable, whatever it may be. It's been a lot of noise. Let's settle this down. And let's get back to business. That's how I received it. Because, see, it's easy to look at something and say, oh, boring. We're talking public relations. There's a science behind this. We're talking, I studied this. That PR firm has been keeping their ear very close to the streets in terms of this Eagles team. And for them to go that route spoke volumes about where they felt like they were.
Right. I agree. Keep the main thing the main thing. Let's be about business. We don't need no glitz and glam. We don't need a production crew. We're not on the West Coast. We don't need a Hollywood style trailer, you know. And most of the teams that's putting in that money, you know, into advertising need it. We don't. So it was a bad year for us last year, and we made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Our window is still open.
Very, very, very much so. I think I'm extremely excited about what this new version of the Philadelphia Eagles is going to look like. Because I don't want to make it seem like, oh yeah, AJ Brown is a locker room problem. I don't believe that, but I just think sometimes there's a certain gravity certain guys have that you just have to, you gotta prune that. You gotta clip that. You gotta just send that. It's run its course.
Right.
It's run its course. I think somebody brought this up earlier. Seattle traded DK and won a Super Bowl the following year, right? Is that how it went?
That's right. Like DK is in Pittsburgh now.
Yeah. I think they traded him. It was something like that. But, you gamble. Addition by subtraction. Jackson Smith and Jigba took the next step, right? There's so much that goes into it, but I think even when you subtract A.J. Brown from the equation, the Philadelphia Eagles are still one of the most lethal teams in football, and you better come correct. You better come correct.
I agree. I got a feeling that wherever he goes, it ain't gonna work out like you think it is.
Brandon Gray has a very interesting question. He says, "I'm curious if the A.J. Brown trade helps the Eagles immediately, or if it's delayed. In other words, if we get picks." Let's close it out there, right?
I'm gonna guess that we're gonna get picks, like 27 and 28 picks.
Okay,
we're not gonna get anything immediately. The only way we get something immediately is if Howie flips it to another team, and we get some type of trade or bring in a vet for whatever reason. Who knows what's going to happen between now and camp? So it's possible that he can flip the picks, or whatever it is that we get, whatever compensation we get, he can flip it. You know how Howie is.
Yeah.
He go to the store with the EBT and come back with a Thanksgiving meal, bro. He can do that. So the possibility exists, but I think at this point, I think it's going to end up being exactly what we thought it was. Now, I don't know if we're going to get. Is he going to get the first round pick that he's been talking about and all of that type of stuff? I don't know. But at this point, does it really matter? If we don't get a first round and we get a second round, are we going to be mad about it? Or is the biggest contingency of Eagles fans just ready for AJ to be gone?
I think you got to get it first.
I agree. But my question is, what happens if you don't?
I mean, then you move on. It is what it is at that point.
Exactly.
Can't harp on that.
Exactly.
Because once the season starts, you ain't gonna be thinking twice about that pick. But
nope. And Howie knows that.
But I'll say this though, because Kate Robinson brought up a good point. The sky was falling to people when they traded Reddick, and what they do. Pieces. The stars align. Guys played above their pay grade.
Yeah.
And
I was not happy when they let Reddick go. I was like, keep your homeboys at home.
I know that's your phrase, man. That's your phrase.
He was balling. Let's not do the same thing with Jihad. Let's keep the homeboys at home, man. So
yeah, we'll see, man.
Coach, you talk. Yeah, Tiff, I just forgot to change it. My bad.
You all good, man. Ain't about nothing. I barely noticed it.
I listen. I totally forgot about it. But there we go. How about that? Y'all know how I do. There you go.
I think also because I think players hear everything. I think Jalen Hurts. Because he's an adult, he's tucked away you can't get it done with the A.J. Brown talk. He tucked it away. I agree with. I think now that I think we're all pretty sure it's a foregone conclusion. I'm pretty sure he's the same thought has crossed his mind. There's no way it hasn't up to this point. This is his job. He has to think about who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. He's thinking about these things. Yeah. I think he's very motivated to prove that, hey, I'm one of the main reasons why this thing goes the way it goes.
I've been trying to think, like, what was the, and everybody's got their guesses, and whenever this deal goes through, I'm sure there's going to be some stories about this as well. Like, what was the thing that drove the wedge between the two? And my guess is it was probably something that happened in the film room. That's my guess. Something that happened in the film room. Like, hey, you got to do this, so you got to do that. And it might not necessarily have been from Jalen to AJ. It could have been from AJ to Jalen. Like, look, dog, I'm open here. Hit me with the ball. This is on you. Like, it could have been something like that. I don't know. But clearly it was something that happened, or we wouldn't have had what we had. We wouldn't, Brandon, BG wouldn't have said what he said. So obviously it was something going on. And it made it if I remember correctly, based on what Brandon said, Jalen was trying to get things right, and AJ was being a troublemaker. That's what I took from it. Because didn't he say one was trying? Ain't that what he said?
That's the BG kept saying.
He said one is trying. So
he said, saying one thing. One is trying. Trying what?
So he trying to keep it together. Is he like, what is he trying? Like what made him need to try? So, I'm sure it'll be a story about what happened, fly on the wall, or who knows. But I agree with you. I think Jalen will be fine this year. He's definitely got a chip on his shoulder. He's definitely that kind of guy that tucks it away, and he's like, all right, I got you. I'm gonna keep. You know what? The perfect moment that encompasses Jalen Hurts. The perfect moment was when he was walking in the tunnel to go to the locker room during the Super Bowl, and he saw the TV that was showing ESPN, and everybody had picked Kansas City to win, and he just kind of like,
he tucked it.
All right, store it away. I got something for you. So it's amazing how everything that we've been through in the city of Philadelphia to get the type of quarterback we got in Jalen Hurts. What are the odds? The different coordinators, like we got a quarterback that can handle all of that and still get to the Super Bowl, lose a heartbreaker, get back to the Super Bowl, and be MVP. After they told him how hard it was to get back to your second one.
Exactly.
After you lose your first one. So we got the perfect dude for this city.
And I don't think people understand that. That gets. Can you imagine if Jalen Hurts was more sensitive and everything else being the same? That sensitivity can probably remove a Super Bowl victory or even the appearances.
Right.
There's a certain level of stoicism that's required to make it in the city. You can't move with the tide in Philly. You can't move with the tide. You cannot. It's very easy to let this city consume you and succumb to just the pressure. I'm from Philly. I know how we carry. You've been living in the tri-state area for quite some time, Marcus. You played in the city. You know. And that's why it made me laugh when Josh Hart tried to say, yeah, I thought Philadelphia was a sports city. That was hilarious. That was cute.
Man, I wanted to reach through the television and smack the shit out of him.
That was cute. Dog. That was cute because he went to Villanova and he know what's up, but it's all good. That's ain't about nothing. The reality is, to play quarterback in Philadelphia, in order to be successful, you got to be able to take all the bullets and not make a sound when they hit you.
Never thought about it like that, but that's
not easy. Think about that.
That's the road to hoe right there.
Think about that. It's not easy.
Yeah.
You got to be able to take all the bullets and not make a sound when they hit you. On that note, we can close out the show, man. Thank you, Bergen, for the super chat, man. It means a lot to us. Goes a long way for sure. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up with Sports. We are live on multiple platforms, you guys. Make sure you guys lock in, share the content. The love is always felt. Any final words, Marcus?
Now, let's get it going. We got one week closer. Somebody put in the chat that in a week and a half, we got OTAs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Shit, we are here, bro. We are here. I need to get in touch with the Eagles so I can get my dates where I'm going to practice.
For sure, man.
It's that time of the year, man.
It is, man, and look, man. This is the time for optimism.
Yeah,
and everybody has the right to feel good about where their team is going. They should feel good, right? They should feel good, but everybody can't get to the finish line. Everybody can't get their city a fair shot at glory. But the Philadelphia Eagles, they always keep it in the mix.
Facts.
It's just that simple, y'all. Look, that's the show. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports. He's Marcus Thomas. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. This has been the Bald Eagles Podcast. And as always, fly Eagles fly, y'all.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Fly guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad.